Welcome to Taylor Money Talk, where we connect history, economics, and strategy to understand where we have been and the direction we are heading next. This is a general discussion and is not intended to be specific investment advice.
Hello, and welcome to my podcast, and thanks for listening. Today, I'd like to talk about the role of the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency. I want to discuss what that means and the impact it has on us. In simple terms, a reserve currency is that currency that most international commerce is conducted in between nations. So, trading in commodities such as oil or agricultural products are completed in the agreed upon reserve currency that is usually the currency of the dominant nation of that time. This streamlines international trading between nations that would all have their own currencies, and it would be very cumbersome to facilitate international trade in multiple currencies. So the reserve currency system has worked for over 1,200 years. And the more efficiently countries can conduct international trade, the better their economy is, and that produces a higher standard of living. In addition to international trade, this favored status allows the host country to manage its own economy more favorably and to exert global influence more profoundly. I would say that the United States status of reserve currency that we've had since 1944 has had a significant positive impact on the standard of living in America that we all enjoy. I used to believe that losing this reserve status would have a very big negative impact on our economy. But I can now see a way that this change could be less impactful in a negative sense. When the British sterling was replaced by the US dollar, after almost 100 years of having the reserve status, it did impact the British Empire, but the country of Great Britain, today, almost 80 years later, is doing just fine. People have jobs, England is a beautiful country, and the people go about their lives. There's much talk today about, in the public space, about China replacing the United States dollar, and that might be the demise of the U.S. economy. In the 1970s, there was much talk about Japan replacing the United States as the global powerhouse and becoming the reserve currency, and that did not happen either. I do think a change is coming, but I don't believe it will result in another single country's currency becoming the reserve currency. So let me explain that by describing three potential paths that I believe this change could take. And these are events that we want to be aware of as we make investment decisions. Now, the first path, and the most favorable, and I think the most likely, is that a new global system will be created through the cooperation of nations and, very importantly, technology. Technology like blockchain and the future developments of that could allow countries to do international commerce without having a single currency be dominant. Payment systems like this are already in place and being used. Now, this would level the playing field between nations and create more opportunities for more people all over the world. This would eliminate a single global power having undue control over all the other countries, and it could reduce tensions between nations. Many existing institutions will resist this change as they currently have a lot of power and they will not want to lose it. But I think this is the most likely scenario. And again, as I stress, substantially pushed by technology. Path two is that the United States will try to maintain the reserve status. I do not think this will work in the long run for three reasons. First, as we mentioned, technology. Technology will force a change, in my opinion. It already has impacted almost every aspect of our lives. Second, the behavior of the United States in the last 25 years. The use of sanctions, confiscation of assets through the banking system, and other penalizing actions, they alarm other nations. Our endless deficit spending for political agendas and wars and social causes causes the value of the US dollar to decrease. That's inflation. We're all familiar with that. And it penalizes foreign nations that hold US dollars. Third, human nature. People do not naturally want to be controlled by other people. And nations are the same way. Remember that phrase? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Does that sound familiar? I think if the United States goes down this path, it will result in the managed decline of our country, perhaps over a decade, and we will have to direct our investments accordingly. This is something to watch for. Path 3, the most negative path. If the change is too disruptive, the wheels could fall off the cart. Nations could go to war to obtain dominance. Supply chains could be disrupted, causing famine and water shortages in certain parts of the world. And economies could collapse all around the world, causing a 1920s type depression scenario that none of us want to have happen. And I do not think that that is a likely scenario. So we need to stay vigilant as to what's happening around us, and we need to direct our investments accordingly. Thank you for listening, and I hope this is helpful. And as a reminder, this is a discussion of history and economics and is not intended to be specific investment advice.
Thank you for watching. You can see the entire video at my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/TaylorMoneyTalk.